Hey, everybody. We've got a great one today with a basketball player, for a change, Bill Walton, the NBA Hall of Famer. He was named one of the top 75 NBA players in the 75-year history of the NBA. And I know I've gotten to know Bill over the decades because he and I are both big deadheads, huge deadheads. He more than me. He's been to over 1,000 shows. I've been to maybe 50, 60 shows. Funny story. Bernie Cahill, the manager for the Grateful Dead, told me once that when sometimes important people want tickets, and he has to kind of give them good tickets. But if someone is a little bit of a jerk about it and keeps insisting on great seats, Bernie told me he always put them right behind Bill, right behind Walton, who's 6'11", and I enjoyed that story. As I said, I've known Bill. He's a you'll find he's an extremely energetic guy, but there was a point, and he's written he wrote this book a few years ago, Back from the Dead, and it has a kind of a Grateful Dead theme to it. I don't know. And it starts off when he is literally on the floor on his back at his lowest point and in tremendous pain. And it was like this for about 4.5 years, and finally had some back surgery that saved his life, essentially. And he was at his very bottom. And I think you'll see from this our conversation that, boy, he's a very, very passionate, optimistic, wonderful, wonderful guy. And I know that you're going to enjoy this. Bill Walton, and he's a good friend. You'll see he says some really nice things about me, to the point where I'm a little embarrassed, but I can edit. That's the thing. We can edit this. So no, you'll hear some of it, but it's probably 8 to 10 times that amount. And so it's a little embarrassing. But this one is just a delightful one with a basketball Hall of Famer, for a change. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, here we go. Man, I've been looking for you. I've been searching for the bright side of the road for so long, and all that hits me, I'm just bombarded with evil every single day. Please, I need a vaccine. I need a vaccine for hypocrisy. I need a vaccine for nonsensical absurdity. Please, I need another book. Well, man, we've got to get rid of the big fat idiots. We got to get rid of the lying liars and the lies.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Thanks for remembering.
I'm looking for a giant who I can stand on their shoulders and try to do something positive once in my life here. I'm looking for the truth. And here I am sitting here, finally finding my great friend, the true giant among us, Al Franken.
I don't know if people realize it, but Bill just hit every one of my number one New York Times bestsellers. Now
I'm a fan.
I know you are.
And I love you. And I just can't believe that you're not in my life every single day. So I just have all these books, and I have all these recordings, and I have all these videos, and I have everything that just kind of brings it all together for me. But then the minute I step outside, I'm just bombarded. I mean, I try so much. I try so hard to wake up in the morning and do something positive to help the world be better. And I live by the motto of be better, do more. And then every single day, man, I just come across people and it's like they wake up in the morning and they want to do the worst thing in the world.
There's a
So
lot of
I
them.
am so glad to be on this screen. I just want to reach out and just give you a big hug and just say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, we need more energy, Bill.
Well, I'm fired up.
I love you, man. We've go way back. Well, I want to talk about your back. I want to talk about how
my spine is doing fantastic. Now, it wasn't always the way. It wasn't always the case because I broke my spine when I was 21 and I was at UCLA and I was playing.
Some asshole undercut you, right?
Yeah, I was high above the basket. Now, I love being high above the basket, man. I love just traveling around up there and flying and having the grand old time. And so here I was undercut. And it was just an awful situation. And I flipped over and I landed flat on my back on a tartan floor, the innovation of the day, right? We're going to make this better. Let's just have these guys who were used to playing on wood, which is flexible, which is giving, which has got a 2 or 3 inch cushion of air underneath it. Let's just make it a solid rubber slab. I mean, it was basically like what you would hope they would put down instead of fossil fuel asphalt, right? And so although the plastics are fossil fuels too, I mean, we got to somehow find a way to get rid of all this stuff. And so here it was that I broke my spine and I spent 11 days in the hospital. And then I got up and things were really never the same for me again. And I just sort of.
But you played that year after breaking your back.
I played 11 days later. I broke my back on January 7th, 1974. Not that I remember the date. And then the next time I played was January 19th, 1974, and we lost the 88-game winning streak that day. Not that I remember the date or the details or the facts, but it's hard to play basketball with a broken back.
No, you start the book, you're flat on your back, you're depressed, you don't think you're gonna ever get off your back.
Well, there was no reason for me to believe I was going to get better. I needed to kill myself because there was just no hope. Because the path to happiness in life is your health, your family, your team, your home, your sanctuary, and then the hope and dream that tomorrow's going to be better. And while my family had stayed with me and stayed there, we still had our home. That was tenuous. It's all tenuous when you lose your health. It's tragic in America. The way you put it out in Giant of the Senate when you talked about the health care challenges that our country faces, and it's just embarrassing and disgraceful and magnificent. And I was ready to vote right then and there. I was ready to march. I was ready to show up and, just maybe get a Al Franken tattoo across my forehead there and everything. But I had lost everything, including my dignity, my self-respect. And I had no hope and dream that it was going to be better. And I had no idea how hard this journey would be. I had no idea that it had a chance of working. And when you have a bad back, you are bombarded by people who will tell you, it's over. There's no hope possible. Don't have back surgery. It'll only make things worse. And I had no idea the advances, the technological, the scientific, the medical advances that have been made in spine surgery and in all of health. And so the only thing I can say to everybody else, and I say this on a constant basis, when something's wrong, go tell somebody who knows what they're doing. Don't talk to somebody.
Well, you got surgery from somebody.
Steve Garfin, Dr. Steve Garfin, UC San Diego Health, saved my life. Little tiny guy from the Midwest like John Wooden, but a true giant, just like you. Little tiny guy from the Midwest, from Minnesota. Steve Garfin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, came to San Diego in the late 60s and just changed all of our lives.
You described what you were going through then, right. And that was a long-lasting bottom. That was
4.5 years. It had been a progressive thing. It wasn't like one moment. There was one moment, February 24th, 2008, not that I remember the date. There was one moment when I could no longer go. I could no longer move. I could no longer get off the ground. But there was a long series of years and years of just agony with the birth defects in my feet, the knee injuries that suffered from being taken down, and then living and then the broken spine when I was 21, and then living in a world built for preschool children. When you're at home, and you're on your bike or you're in the gym, everything fits. But when try being 6'11" and being on an airplane every day. Try being 6'11" and try to check into a hotel. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Walton. We only have a single bed, and the shower. Oh, the ceiling in the shower is only 6'5", and the toilet is 6 inches off the ground, and the mirror only goes up to somebody who is 6'4". And so in the closets, and you have to duck in through every single.
I thought it'd be funny if we did this whole interview with your head just the lower. You're above the screen.
You want me to do that? You want me to put it like? Okay.
So
I love Al Franken. Oh my gosh. I'm finding the bright side of the road, although you keep taking me back to all these dark days.
Okay.
But suicide and mental health issues are very, very serious. And as an athlete, you train yourself. That I can do this, and I'm going to make it. And then when your body fails, man, and
you're very physically active. I know you love biking, and you're so physically active now.
I'm 69 years old, but I'm doing fantastic. And when you're old and in the way like I am, you're in a situation where there's 3 things you can do. There's 3 things. You're in the water, in the pool, in the weight room, and on your bike. And I do all those 3 things. Now in the pool, everything's great. And when you're in the weight room, everything is great because you're in a controlled environment, and you got the music going, and Bright Side of the Road, See What Love Can Do, and all everybody, Neil Young and John Fogerty and Bob Dylan, and it just keeps rolling, right? And you just
I think we're the same generation. I
got the bike race. I got the bike race there up on my streaming service, and it's just fantastic. But then I do fly on the airplanes, and when you ride your bike and when you fly on airplanes, you see the best of humanity, and you also see the worst of humanity. And it's just, I feel just awful. I feel awful for the flight attendants, because there is no more confined space other than isolation in a prison than being on an airplane. And so here these flight attendants who work so darn hard, they always have this smile on their face and everything. But the flight attendants, they have the 3rd worst job in the history of the world.
Okay.
The 2nd worst job is the guy that does my travel, and then the guy and the worst job of all is my wife Lori, because but she's still here after all these years.
She trains service dogs, right?
Yes, she does. But she had to stop when the children left. So we had 4 children, right? And then and 9 grandchildren. And then my older brother died. He was a football player, and he had just tons and tons of health issues. The last couple of years were terrible. And just before the pandemic, he couldn't make it anymore. And so he had 2 adult children who were same age as our adult children. And so we adopted them, and their 5 granddaughters. So now Lori and I, we have 6 children and 14 grandchildren. And up until the point where the children, were really gone. When they left home, Lori had started taking the responsibility of raising service dogs. And then when I went down on the 24th of February 2008, then she had to stop, because taking care of me was a full-time job. Now she's fully invested in the program still, but not raising the dogs themselves. And right now she's involved with this organization called Freedom Dogs, which provides free service. All the organizations provide the free service dogs. I mean, and that's why the fundraising is so necessary constantly. And so, but this current organization focuses on our military personnel. Because sadly, in our country, more service personnel in our country commit suicide than die in combat. And
by far.
So Lori raises the service dogs to present to the service people who are coming back, who are fighting for us and sacrificing everything in their lives. And then, and so they get the service dog, and they reestablish the connection with the team, with the communication. There is nothing as valuable as the team, man, because the team, the family, the group, the guys, I mean, they'll carry you when you're down. It's like a bike race. The guy who wins the bike race, he's totally indebted to everybody that helps him.
Well, my first piece of legislation was to do a study on the benefits of service dogs with vets with PTSD,
Right.
and we matched 200 dogs with 200 vets. And it took the study that was supposed to be a 3-year study took 10 years, but the results were that the return on investment is huge. And because of that, they just passed, I wasn't there for this, the Pause Act, but it means that vets with PTSD are going to be able to get service dogs.
One of the reasons I love you is you do stuff like that. One of the reasons why,
Yeah.
but I've already told you that I love you on this show. And
Yes.
so, but one of the reasons that I love the NBA is that their studies are not long-term studies. They get all the smartest people together and they say, okay, we got a problem. How are we going to fix this? And by the time they end the conversation, they're on their way to the solution and the ability to change on the fly. I mean, that's what the players do during the course of the game. You make your adjustments, you make your different calculations, you change your strategy, but you don't need to practice strategy. You need to practice skill. And so when you're out there playing, the strategy comes up and in 10 or 20 seconds, you figure out what you got to do next. And that's where you got to have really smart people. And the NBA got a lot of that.
Let's talk about the Final Four now. Has been established.
Yeah.
I've been watching as much as I can.
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it on there.
There is a lot of it.
And one of the things that's sad to me is that they play the women's games at the same time as the men's games.
Yeah, that's silly.
And so it shortchanges the women, and that's just not right, because
while they're running ads saying the NCAA, we don't have enough airtime for the women.
Right, but the games are played at the same time, and it's just it's frustrating as can be, because I love women's basketball, and I particularly love the Stanford team. And I had gone to Stanford years and years ago as a graduate student when I was told I would never play basketball. And so I have a direct affinity with Stanford. And then one of our children went to Stanford graduate school as well after going to Princeton undergrad. I love Ivy League basketball, and I love women's basketball. And I really love Princeton basketball, and I really love Stanford women's basketball. The way they play, the style. If you're ever feeling bad about life, then just turn on the TV and watch Tara Vanderveer's women's Stanford team play, because they are a thing of beauty. They're the defending champions, and they're playing in the Final Four right now, and it's going to be spectacular. Now the South Carolina, Dawn Staley, they got a terrific team, different than Stanford. The Stanford players are smaller. They're very much the way that John Wooden was looking for the players that he had, particularly in the early days. Things changed for Coach Wooden when Kareem showed up. And Kareem never played a game in his life, never, where he wasn't the number one focus of the other team. But it wasn't always like that. So, Coach Wooden, he had two teams, two championship teams, and the tallest guy on the team was 6'5". But then he had Kareem for 3 years. He had Sidney Wicks for 2 years, and I was 6'11". And then it went back to Marcus.
Well, let's turn to the men's, if that's okay. My son-in-law went to Duke, so Duke
has the best team, and they have the best players. And one thing that Coach Wooden was really, and so much of my whole foundation, so much of my whole philosophy comes from John Wooden and Chick Hearn, who were the incredible people who created the culture and why basketball is popular in Southern California. And here was Chick on the air every single day, and here was John Wooden, who woke up every single day and said, "Hey, what can I do to make the world a better place?" And he used the vehicle of the platform of sports, and basketball in particular, although baseball was his number one love. But he just used that to promote the positive values that we try to create, implement, absorb, and then spread in our own personal lives. Find the bright side of the road and see what love can do. Which are the songs that you kept telling me to turn off before we started this show? Because I listen to music on a constant basis.
How many Dead concerts have you been to?
Not enough. I mean, I'm over 1,000. I started going when I was 15. And that was 1967, 2 years
So I've
after.
seen you at many a concert. Right. And so
how could you tell it was me?
for the same reason that this story is hilarious. So Bernie Cahill, the manager of the Dead, he told me that when some kind of important guy kept demanding really great tickets to the concert,
right,
that if Bernie would finally just give him the seat behind you.
The worst seat in the house.
Yes,
because I'm standing up, and I'm
because you stand up the whole time.
I stand up the whole time.
Everybody knows where Walton is.
So there were times, there were years when I couldn't stand up because of my health issues.
Yeah.
Now I can stand up again. And so it's fit to be back in the pit, although Lori can't stand the pit because she's standing there at navel height for everybody else.
Oh, that's right. Lori is much, she is not.
She's the true giant in our family. When I walk through the crowd looking for my space, right, where I'm going to find the spot that I'm going to stop, I can hear him talking. Don't stop here. I hope he doesn't stop here. Please keep going.
So let me just tell folks from your point of view,
right,
about the Dead.
It's so fun, and it's so happy, and it's so inspirational, it's so educational, it's so full of all the things that I believe in life. People working together, people searching for something that's better, that's purer, that is a kinder, gentler world as it can, could, and should be. I'm a Deadhead. We are everywhere, and we are everyone. And so as you go through life, and I constantly mentor young people who are, and that's one of the reasons why I love broadcasting college basketball games, because I get to spend my days on college campuses. I get to spend my day with college student athletes, guys and women who are trying to make it and trying to create this world that they can survive and thrive in and be happy and build their own families and all the things that we've already done in our lives. And so with the Grateful Dead, I found it the very first time I went. I was 15 years old, and I got there, and I just couldn't believe how happy everybody was, and how full of hope and joy and optimism that, hey man, we're gonna make it. It's gonna happen. And then the music starts, right? And everybody just starts smiling even more and growing taller and just so full of everything good. And then the music stops and everybody looks around and says, well, where and when is the next show? And let's get going to that too.
Well, the thing about the Dead that I think some people don't understand, first of all, the songs are brilliant, but it's just the most, I mean, to me, it's all a thing. It's all inspiring to be there, but
it's healing too. It's healing because to me, all the songs, no matter how they play them, it's different to me because I'm a different person. I'm a different person every time I go because different things.
That's heavy, man.
Have happened to me that
okay.
day, and I'm in a different mood. And and I've had something great happen. I've had something terrible happen, and it's just the mixture of. So I prepare for the shows. I mean, I get ready to make sure I prepare for the show the same way I prepare for coming on your show, the same way I prepare for going on a television.
You came, you burst with references.
I'm ready, man. And so because I want to be healed. You know, when I come in your presence, I want to absorb everything that I possibly can. And the same thing with the Grateful Dead or Bob Dylan or Neil Young, John Fogerty or Jimmy Cliff or endless Jackson Brown, Beach Boys, Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen. It's an endless list, and they're all still going, and I couldn't be happier. And I'm so glad that the pandemic, we're starting to learn how to live with that, but I just don't understand. I mean, I'm looking for a vaccine against hypocrisy. I'm looking for a vaccine against absurd nonsense. And so, but all I'm getting right now is a vaccine for COVID.
Can I ask you something?
Do whatever you want.
Okay, a couple like issues in paying athletes in the NCAA.
I'm for anything that brings the money down. We spend too much time. Why are we spending time worrying about people at the top? I mean,
Oh,
I just don't get this at all. I mean,
no. Well, we're sick. The society is sick. Did you see that
Need to
Biden?
worry about the people at the top. But we got tons of problems in our country. And we have people need to eat, people need to have a house, people need to get educated, people need to get health care.
Amen. Biden actually has announced that he's going to do a wealth tax.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, and
that's what I love about the NBA. The NBA sees a problem. They say, let's fix it. Let's change this right now.
That's why. Why is the NBA so great in that regard, and why is the NFL so bad?
Well, I think it comes back to David Stern and what David Stern did in creating the culture. David Stern, he's a little tiny guy, right? But the biggest guy of all. David Stern's the most important man in the history of basketball because he never shot a basket at all, but he made a game into a business, and what a business it's become. Hugely successful, and he changed with the times. All the different things that the NBA is different. He had to be talked into the globalization aspect. He had to be talked into the gambling aspect. All progress requires change, but not all change is progress. And so when you make the change, it drives me nuts when we study the racial history of our country. And
oh boy,
and all these people will say, we can never do that. That will be the end of life as we know it. And
that what will be looking at our history.
If we make this change, if we allow Black people to participate in the world, or if we allow women to play sports, or if we allow same-sex marriage, or if we allow people to smoke marijuana, or if we allow anything, they'll always tell you that'll never work. And if we did do that, life would end. Life as we know it would end. And then they give you that when small progress is being made, they will say, well, you're going too fast. You have to make these steps in due time. And that is just ridiculous. And so one of the things that David Stern was just so fantastic about was that he was willing, number one, he was willing to use basketball as a vehicle, as a platform for positive social change. And then he was willing to provide opportunity and inclusion and say, hey, man, we're all in this together. And David and his wife, Diane, just absolutely incredible human beings that happened to get to the very top. And
can you contrast that? Can you contrast that with the NFL? Do you have a perspective on that? You're a sports broadcaster, so I imagine you have some thoughts on that.
Yes, the NFL is different, and it's. I'm glad I'm in basketball, because basketball is the perfect game. It never really stops. They put the ball in the air and it's let's go. And like one of the beautiful things about playing for John Wooden is that he knew it was about players. He lived by the mantra that players make plays, plays don't make players. And so in John Wooden's world, we never watched film. He never used.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. Also, you didn't really have set plays. You
had no play, right? He had no plays. He never used the blackboard. He was the first great player in basketball, and he felt his job as the coach was to make you the next great basketball player, and he knew how to do that. We only had 5 or 6 drills. He invented all the drills, and he never called timeout. He thought timeouts were admissions of defeat that only gave the other team a chance to regroup, and he never started practice with these words. So what do you guys want to do today? He had a plan. He was the teacher, and he things he did today have been proven wrong. The nutritional aspects that we were not allowed to drink water during the games. We were not
really.
Yeah, there was no towels. There was no talking. There was no chairs. There was no water. It was just like, okay, we're in shape. This game's only going to last for 2 hours. You'll be fine. Let's go. So we learned to drink all our water before the game, before the game started, before the practice started. Our games were our games were memorized exhibitions of brilliance, which were slow and which were easy compared to what the practices were like. Because he had a second string that was just magnificent, and he knew that his greatest ally, the greatest weapon, the greatest strength, the greatest power that the coach has is the bench. And he was never afraid to put anybody on the bench. And we knew that, and we believed that. And we were terrified of the guy, even more so of his wife. Yeah.
Now, you were, #1 draft pick, right? Coming out of college.
Yeah.
And you're a Hall of Famer, of course.
Yeah.
Where are you in the pantheon? Where do they put you? Where are you? Are you one of the...
I'm a member of the NBA's last 2 all-time teams. The NBA at 50, which was 1997 in Cleveland, and then just this past February 18th, not that I remember the date, but I was also a member of the NBA 75 team. And then just coming up, just after the Final Four, and how cool is it that the NBA celebrating its 75th year this year, and that's exactly how old Kareem is. And Kareem is 75, and we're having a 75th birthday for him coming up right after the Final Four, and it'll be just fantastic. And we'll be able to wish the guy happy birthday. Although when we played against, we're of the era where if they weren't on your team, they were the enemy, man, and we were ready to fight.
That's what I get out of your book.
And there was no hugging and kissing with the other team before the games, and there was not this, they didn't have the congratulations line at the end, where the 2 teams walk by each other. Mm-hmm. No, that was not the deal then, and that was fine with me, because I played to win. Bill Russell was my hero, and I was not interested in losing and not interested in the other team. But now that we don't play anymore, I mean, we're all friends, and it's fine.
Right.
And I just hope that when the trash talking starts at Kareem's birthday party, that nobody goes up and slaps the speaker, man. That's just like, I don't really get that. I read this fantastic book recently called Robin by David Itzoff. And just a 600-page masterpiece of Robin Williams, and it's just absolutely incredible, because I know that you do stand up, and just how hard that is, and that life, and it was just an incredible story of this really brilliant guy, the same brilliance that you radiate all the time.
Well, there's he was unique, and
he was different. He was like Kareem. He was just different, and he was just better.
I don't sweat when I do my thing.
I sweat.
Well, you play basketball.
I sweat when I sleep. I wake up in a full sweat all the time. And I just dream all these just absolutely vivid, colorful, wild dreams, and it's just fantastic, and I love it.
That's great.
Yeah, and so when
I remember
reading,
your dreams.
Sometimes when I first wake up, but then I can't reconstruct them. Lori always describes my mind as being like a slot machine with the spin. I
have a thing with my wife where if I have a dream, and like a very vivid dream, and I say to her, I really had this vivid dream, you want to hear about it? And she says no.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that's like every fucking time I go for it. I had this unbelievable dream. You want to hear it? No.
So I have the same situation in that when I ride my bike, which for me is a dream.
I write on the bike. I write.
Right. I construct, whenever I need a new idea, whenever I need a new path, a new innovation deal, then I go in the weight room first. I go in the weight room every day, and I turn the music on, I turn the bike race on the TV, and I just get into space right away. And then and the same thing with my bike, but the bike is a totally different thing, because you cannot have any exterior noise other than the cars, which you're dodging on a constant basis. And so I'll get home from a bike ride, right? And I'll just be covered with sweat and grease and blood and sunscreen and everything. And I'll just come in, I'll be so fired up. I mean, it's just like basically when the Grateful Dead show ends, right? You're so fired up and you're ready to do anything, and you convince yourself that anything is possible, including positive change. And so here I come in the front door, and I'll look at her with this dazed, crazed look, and I'll say, man, I got an idea. And she'll say, oh, great. And then she'll say, just remember, big boy, I wasn't part of that 6-hour one-way conversation that you just had. And she'll turn quickly and she'll say, go jump in the swimming pool, take a shower, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Okay. We sound like we're married to similar women.
So Lori's the greatest everything ever in my life. And I mean, she just,
well, there we go.
I never thought that I would be happy in love. And I never thought that I would be healthy. I never thought I'd be free of pain. Now, my health is limited in that there's things I cannot do, but there's a lot of things I can do. And that's what I focus in on doing. And that's why when I love reading your books about the big fat idiot, when I love reading your books about the lies and the lying liars that tell them, when I read The Giant in the Senate, and when I read The Truth, I just burst out laughing. All the different things that you've done in your life, and when you tell the stories, and it's just like I'm just sad that I'm not going to be able to catch the currently on tour because
well, you're going to be at the
Final Four, and your son goes to Duke.
No. My son-in-law went to Duke.
Duke. Okay.
Yeah, he's he's kind of a nut.
What?
Duke,
Well, that's called pride. That's called loyalty. That's called loyalty.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So be happy that he has
Good
that.
thing.
One thing we didn't get to here, I tried to get to it, is that when I mentor young people, and I always encourage them, find something in your life like I have the Grateful Dead in my life, because basketball and the Grateful Dead, from the time I first started, I started playing basketball when I was 8. I started with the Grateful Dead when I was 15. And from the very beginning, they gave me hope, opportunity, and purpose. And over the years, now that I'm 69 years old, I've added to hope, opportunity, and purpose. I have added pride, loyalty, and gratitude. Pride, the satisfaction with our choices, the satisfaction that I picked up the Big Fat Idiot book and I roared with laughter. The pride that I picked up lies and the lying liars you tell them. And I just couldn't believe that. All you have to do is just Google this information and you'll find that it's absolutely nonsense and ridiculous. Please give us a vaccine, Dr. Franken. And then the Giant of the Senate and The Truth and all this stuff. And so the pride, the satisfaction with our choices, we stand there at the fork in the road.
This is my favorite podcast.
Are we willing to stand there at the fork in the road and make the right choice? The right choice is going to take us to the bright side. It's going to see what love can do. And then the gratitude, the respect, the admiration, the appreciation for the people that went before us. And when we had the NBA 75 celebration, and when you asked about the Pantheon, it's a team. It's a team, and everybody's on the team. There's 75 of us. It's actually 76 because there was a tie in the voting. And so there's 76 guys, and it's just so special. And the thing about it, Al, it gets better as you keep going. And so when I got home from Cleveland in the NBA 75, I quickly sent Adam Silver, who has taken over magnificently from David Stern, who passed away. And then the guy who took Adam's place, Mark Tatum. I mean, these two guys are just fantastic. And I wrote them both. And I just said, hey, man, that was the greatest time ever, NBA 75. I've already put NBA 100 on my list, 2047. Let's get going here. And so
you'll only be what, 95, right? 96?
I'll be 94 then. And
94.
I'm ready to go. It's on my calendar.
You were born in 52 or 53?
52.
52.
November 5th,
51.
1952. And I'm the second of 4 children, and I'm the oldest surviving child. And both of our parents are gone. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world, though, because Lori's still here, and you still take my calls.
Bill, cheer up.
I'm happy.
I know.
I'm happy. I'm happy because I got another chance in my life when Dr. Garfin fixed my spine.
Yeah.
And when you know, health is
that is the beginning back from the dead. And I you know what? My producer got me the book, and
So
I love this damn thing.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to say something here.
Well, I know, but you promoted every one of my books 5 times. So
look, you're my hero. You stand tall. You stand proud. You know, you stand up in the face of hypocrisy. You stand up in the face of absurd nonsense, and you say, "Wait a second, this cannot be, and we're not going to let this stand." And so, the lives that we lead a privileged life. Privilege in the lives we've had, privilege in the chances that we have in front of us here. Privilege that carries with it responsibility, duty, and obligation. And so we have to do that same thing, that same creation for other people. Dr. Garfin, his sacrifice in his life, our military personnel who sacrifice everything in their lives so that we can have these privileges here. We owe other people that same opportunity, that same privilege that we just take for granted. And I got to make the most of the time I have, because I spent half my adult life in the hospital. I spent my entire adult life never thinking that I would be happily married. And I'm madly in love with my wife, Lori, more so than ever before. And I'm healthy as can be. And I know I'm healthy in that, yes, I can't do a lot of things I would like to do, like go to the Sierra and hike. I need totally level ground for walking. I don't walk for fun. I walk for function, but I can ride my bike. I can go places on my bike. Mostly, though, I can go places in my mind, and I can read, and I can think, and I can dream. I can hope. I can plan for tomorrow. And as I was planning for today, and I was thinking, hey man, I'm going to be able to spend time with Al Franken. I'm going to be able to ricochet through the universe. And I am going to get all this knowledge and all this information and all this confidence and all this healing power that, yes, little Billy with his red hair and his freckles and his big nose and his goofy, nerdy looking face and his horrendous speech impediment, being a lifelong stutterer and being a deadhead, man, I'm going to have a chance. I'm going to have a chance to be a part of something special. I'm part of the currently on tour. Here we go. Thank you, Al. I love you. Say hi to Franny. Say hi to the children. Good luck to your Duke team. They're a fantastic team, fantastic program. And Coach K, yep, he's among the best.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill. And I hope to see you soon. And,
I love you. The tour hopefully will start up, but we never know until they announce. Then we never know until they walk on stage. Let's go.